We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, it's betting on the Bills. It's week 10. We're already, well, now there's less of the season than what has already happened, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's already week 10. Thinking back to how...
The NFL season, not the Bills season, because technically this is the halfway point.
This is the halfway point.
8 games.
You're right.
Freaking odd number of games. Get to 18. Just get to 18 and make this so much easier.
Let's just cut a preseason game and let's get to 18.
Get to 18, add another bye, out of the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend. Perfection.
Monday off. Absolutely. I'm 100% on board for that. But just as quickly as the Dolphins game came and went on Thursday Night Football, and it was too close for comfort, the Dolphins are back once again, or should I say the Bills are in Miami this time around. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. A lot of things have changed, more so with the Dolphins than with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills actually remain exactly the same pre-deadline and post-deadlines. Nothing really changes for the Bills. I was waiting to release the episode a couple of days ago because I was like, okay, we might have to jump on here at the deadline and do a quick episode, like a thing to attach to the beginning here, because the calls for Olave, Brian Thomas Jr., any wide receiver, even a defenseman, right? Not defenseman, like I'm talking hockey, defensive lineman, anything like that would have been absolutely fine. A safety, sure. No, nothing happens. It's clear that something was materializing. It just couldn't get across the finish line in time. Just from the way Brandon Beane's been talking about it, it's kind of the way it sounds, at least my conclusion of it. You might think differently. We can get into that in a second.
I agree. I also think the one thing I will say is this. I think going into the bye, I think we had a lot more. They needed to make more trades going into the bye than now post-bye these 2 weeks, because I think everyone was like, okay, safety, they need another safety. Mm-hmm. And you kind of feel like replacing Rapp if Poyer has at least stabilized that position with Bishop having 2 very solid games back-to-back. Didn't need one there. Harrison actually playing. We all thought like this would be his first week. He's actually played the last 2 games, played really well, right? And so that's kind of fine. Linebacker, I mean, you got Milano and Bernard back, and they're just going to roll with those 2 guys. Like, I'm sorry, like maybe they're not the best 2 options. It's just pedigree, and they've been in the foxhole with them for multiple years now. They're going to go down swinging with them. So, like those 3 positions on defense all kind of got figured out, right? It was like, okay, but still wide receiver's an issue. And all of a sudden, like,
that was the most
line,
glaring thing. Defensive line after Michael Hoyt's
is kind of an issue as well. So it's interesting. I think, for right or wrong, the Bills just believe that if they have the guys in the room at the wide receiver position I think they believe that they have the guys in the room in the wide receiver position. I think Elijah Moore needs to play a little bit more because he could actually separate. Curtis Samuel, while he didn't have a big game box score wise, I think he did his job as just running. I mean, I hate to say running cardio, but like he was running cardio and he was like the Dalton Kincaid play. He runs and takes 3 people out of the play for Kincaid, right? I think they believe in Kincaid and Shakir.
And also, they used Elijah Moore downfield as well. They threw to Elijah Moore a little more downfield in the Chiefs game. So maybe they try something with that.
I think the trade deadline is simply this. There's really 3 things. One is some of those positions that we thought they should trade for kind of got internally developed. Right? The safety, the cornerback, and the linebacker.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Second thing is, I think they believe that Josh Palmer coming back and that they're eventually going to get Daquan in a short period here. Eventually, we'll get TJ Sanders right in the interior. So they're getting those 2 guys back plus Ed.
Maybe Gabe Davis, too, in the wide receiver
and
room.
Gabe Davis, too. So I think they somewhat believe that. Third, I still believe that they want to make a trade. Like, I think those 2 things are correct, and I think we'll see if they're right on the second one, really. The first one they seem to be correct on. I still think they wanted to make a trade. And I think, honestly, it seems to me, people said that they called the Titans, the Commanders, I'm blanking on the third team.
The Jaguars?
Commanders, it's like, was it Vaughn? Was it like to get some
Deebo Samuel became swirling around.
That was bad. I'd rather have Gabe Davis than Deebo Samuel.
100%. I would rather have them done this, no trades, than get Deebo Samuel on this team.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not going to add anything to your team that you don't already have, and he's old. So no, I'm not okay with that.
The only thing he'll add is not on offense or the receiver room. The only thing he'll add is being a kickoff returner.
Exactly.
Like, that's the only value he would have got. Like, yeah, no, 100% agree. And then the Titans, I have no idea. Maybe that was D-line. Maybe that was like Sebastian Joseph Day. I think they were calling the Jets, though. They called the Jets and Dolphins.
I think they tried the Jets.
I especially think There was the one report where there was like AFC East teams are calling the Jets, and it was like, it doesn't really make sense for Miami because they're both sellers.
Could be New England going for Breece Hall. It could have been Buffalo going after Garrett Wilson. To be honest,
I think it was after seeing Sauce and Quinn Williams. I think both the Bills and the Patriots called about Garrett Wilson. Yeah. Completely speculation, but that's the only thing that makes a lot of sense to me is I think both those teams called to see him. And I think the Bills probably called Miami about Jalen Waddle. I think the Bills make calls. Like I think they were interested in Jacoby Myers, but Jacoby Myers, again, what kind of fit? I mean, it's not the hugest price tag, that a 4th and a 6th, but at the end of the day, that is like 2 kind of picks that we've seen Bean be a pretty good drafter for a guy that, how much does he really move the needle? I don't think he was the receiver they needed.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Piece. They were also reportedly, this is all reportedly, we don't actually know what happened here. Olave was a heavy conversation early on in the day, and then everything kind of went crazy with Shaheed going early. I mean, the Saints got rid of Shaheed to Seattle. That was a pretty interesting trade.
That was the one trade that could have been interesting, but he also is a little complimentary, and he would add some return, some speed, but a 4th and a 5th is not nothing for a guy that you're probably that doesn't have any team control. He would be a rental. That is quite a bit for a rental.
Right, you're absolutely right. And then the last name kind of swirling around there in the chaos of Deebo Samuel becoming a real possibility was Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Just don't believe that was super real.
No, but you never know what could have happened, but it's best not to dwell on it because nothing is going to happen from here on until the end of the season. Realistically, the only thing you're going to be doing is adding if with a free agent, or you're going to be promoting from within. So we're going to see what the Bills do. If Josh Palmer, if Gabe Davis, if TJ Sanders, if those guys coming back from injury are going to be enough, I hope they are. And I do think this roster does have an opportunity to be a championship roster if schemed correctly and utilized properly. But we do have a game to preview in the Miami matchup. The Bills are at the Dolphins this Sunday. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff. It's like the last 1 o'clock kick. No, next week against the Bucs is the last 1 o'clock kickoff until week 18, more than likely against the Jets. But without further ado, before we get into anything, I do want to take a quick time out for our sponsors. You're listening to the Buffalonian Podcast. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Buffalonian Podcast. Went through a little bit of a trade deadline discussion, before took the first time out. If you joined midway through, you can go back and listen to that. Just our thoughts on what exactly was going on. But Bills Dolphins, it's a game where Miami does play Buffalo tough. There's never not a tight Bills Dolphins game. The Dolphins, they were a little more active at the trade deadline, letting pieces go. They're without Tyreek Hill this time around. Yes, Jalen Waddle will be playing. Jalen Phillips is gone on the defense, and I guess Rasul Douglas is going to be an interesting decision on whether he plays or not. So defense a little tattered for Miami, offense a little less dimensional. You still have Devon Achane, you still have Jalen Waddle, so it's nothing to scoff at by any means. And Tua has some good games here and there, especially against the Falcons. He had an okay game. So Dom, let's start it out here with the Bills offense, because I think that we normally start with defense, but I'm going to switch it up just for, bizarro world. We're going to Miami this time around instead of Miami coming to us. So offensively, the Bills last week, kind of a return to form for Allen and the crew, right? The passing offense looked better. James Cook had a hell of a day. James Cook on the injury report, though, with an ankle injury. So that needs to be looked at as he's going to play per head coach Sean McDermott, but how much? Like, do they really, we don't know the extent of the injury. I saw him getting taped up in practice, but that's really about it. So could you see more of a passing game? Does Ty Johnson get more of a look? What do you think this offense is going to do to best the Dolphins in this contest? And then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, I think we're still going to see them try to establish a run game. They ran the ball very well against Miami back in, what was it, week 3? Yeah, week 3.
Yeah, week 3. And that's a staple of the Bills now.
So similar game plan. I think, Josh is going to be really efficient. I wonder if they throw the ball maybe a little bit more downfield. I think if you remember in that Miami game, the big thing coming out was, wow, Josh is really efficient, but he didn't really throw the ball downfield. I wonder if maybe we see a little bit more of that. I wonder if Miami changes it up, because Miami played a lot of coverage to take out the deep field passing, and the Bills just made them pay by running the ball down their throat and throwing those short, quick passes and getting a quick 8 yards, right? Made them dink and dunk, and Josh is good. So I think that'll be intriguing. Rasul Douglas, who de facto is their number one cornerback, seems to be out. He's doubtful.
Yeah.
Obviously, they traded Jalen Phillips, who was one of their best pass rushers. Chop Robinson has a concussion and is doubtful. So down to starting caliber edge players. I mean, one through injury, losing your number one corner. So
it's a favorable matchup for the Bills offense in that regard.
Especially the passing attack, right? Matt Judon and Bradley Chubb are probably going to be the edge rushers. I think you could go after these cornerbacks. Ashton Davis and Malafanu, who are both their safeties, are questionable. I think they're going to play because they've been kind of straight limited for the most part. Except I think one of them missed the first day of the week. So I expect those guys to play. But again, those guys aren't healthy either in the back end. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting game. I wonder, does Josh Palmer play or do they hold him out a week? I don't assume James Cook plays. I think he's just going to be limited. I don't think you're going to see a heavy James Cook workload. I think you're going to see quite a bit more Ray Davis, and I don't know if you'll see more Ty Johnson. I guess it'll be interesting, right? If you see a lot more Ty Johnson and not more Ray Davis, I think that kind of shows you what they think of Ray Davis. Yeah. But I think if you see more Ray Davis with Ty Johnson sprinkled in, I think maybe that's the most likely outcome. I just don't think this is going to be a big James Cook day because I think they're going to really try and limit his touches. I still think he's going to get 10 to 12 carries. He'll get maybe 10 to 12, maybe maximum 15 touches in this game. So
yeah, he'll still produce here and there. I do agree.
I think he'll
with
play
you,
though.
He'll play. I think he'll play limited amount. I think they're gonna be careful with that ankle injury. You definitely don't want to, when he's been a very efficient part of your offense, you don't want to start.
No game status, so he seems to be playing.
And having that come back to bite you in the ass at some point. But I do think it's going to be a little bit more passing heavy. Like you mentioned, all the injuries, right, might give Allen in the offense a little bit more of an opportunity to throw downfield. Like I said last week, used Elijah Moore a little bit more downfield. They've really gone into the tight end attack, right, with Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid being basically the number one pass catcher, and Jackson Hawes getting into the mix here and there as well. Last Miami game, if you remember, Jackson Hawes caught his first career touchdown on the little the shovel pass into the end zone. So maybe we see another little Jackson Hawes game here. I don't know what to think about Keon at this point. I really don't. Like, I was going to ask you about this for this episode, just because I every week since the Baltimore game, where he was a big part of the reason the Bills were able to come back, it's just been going downhill, right? Like I don't know if it's utilization or just he's not getting it. I have no idea. And Brandon Beane had a big lengthy press conference following the deadline, and he acknowledged the microscope was on Keon Coleman and how, he wants the ball, and name me a receiver that doesn't want a ball, he said, but also he's been open and Josh hasn't looked his way. So like, what is your take on the whole Keon Coleman thing? I feel like it's a pretty polarizing discussion in the Bills mafia, if you will. Some people are like, you got to give the kid a chance, and some people are like, he's washed. So I don't know. What do you think?
Until Josh Palmer returns, it's really hard to see his role getting super diminished.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Like, it's tough. At the end of the day, he's a young player, right? He's still a young prospect. You still want him to develop. Also, you're trying to win the Super Bowl. This isn't the Carolina Panthers, even though they're 5-4. Maybe that was a bad example. Let's just say the Jets.
Yeah,
where you could afford to have a young guy who's struggling just play through it. Like, I don't know, he's had an opportunity of Palmer being out, and I think if once Palmer returns, the problem with Keon is simply this: is teams don't respect him. Mm-hmm. Right? Teams are just allowing him to be on the backside of these pass concepts one-on-one, and he doesn't beat his guy. Or Josh doesn't trust him enough to get the separation necessary to be comfortable throwing him the ball in those situations. And that's kind of why I think we need to see, when Josh Palmer comes back, him kind of take that role. I think Josh Palmer is a guy that can separate against one-on-one man coverage. And I think at least, bare minimum, Josh Palmer will at least make the safety think to come over the top of him, not lead the guy, and then that helps you on the other side. So
exactly.
I think I hate to say this as Keon's last chance, because I still think Palmer misses. I think Palmer and Daquan both didn't practice the first day, and then they were limited throughout. So I just assume that those guys are going to they're not going to force those guys to play in this game. But I don't know. It is kind of you're right, Joe. This is kind of his last opportunity to really prove it. If not, I expect when Palmer comes back. Now, granted, Palmer's coming back from an injury, so maybe he's going to be a little limited. But once Palmer is fully up to speed, and maybe by that time Gabe Davis is fully up to speed, I don't know. Can we see him get healthy scratched? Like, I think that's a possibility.
It's a tough look if that's actually what happens. That's where I was going. I was curious to see what you're saying, but I fully expect if Palmer comes back, like Shavers is active before him, like at this point, like that's kind of where we're getting to in the lack of production from Keon Coleman. And I hate it. I want to see him succeed as much as the next person does. Okay. I don't want anyone to struggle on this team, but there's just something not clicking. There's, like you said, the trust between him and Allen just doesn't seem to be as strong as it is with others like Shakir, with Kincaid.
And it's not like he's doing everything right. Like, it's not like,
no,
I hate to be this guy, but it's not like he's like doing everything right behind the scenes. Like, he's been disciplined twice in a year. Like, at some point, like,
yeah, for late. And then also that infamous clip that circulated after, what win was it?
who cares about that?
Just looking around. That immediately was like a thought. But I don't know. It's just like behind the scenes. We don't know what happens really behind the scenes. But from what we do know, like you said, the disciplinary action, can only imagine he's not a first-time offender with this stuff. So that continues, and I don't know, maybe in the offseason he's worked into a trade somewhere. I don't know. We'll have to as a piece of it. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But offensively, I do think this is a favorable matchup for the Bills. Before we get into the defensive matchup, though, against Tua turn the ball over and company, I do got to take another quick timeout. We'll be right back with more of the Buffalonian Podcast. Welcome back to the Buffalonian Podcast. Talked a lot about the offense, Keon Coleman, what the offense can do against this Miami defense. A little battered up over there, so maybe they got a good chance to do some stuff. Now it's time for a defensive conversation. And listen, I do think the Bills' defense is good. Maxwell Hairston is good. The safety situation they currently have going is good. I don't mind it at all. I think it works. Miami's down a weapon in Tyreek Hill from the last time around, so it's really Jalen Waddle and others. You still have your edge rushers, Joey Bosa, who's been playing really well, really efficient. Greg Rousseau coming off one of his better games of the season, right? So like this is a favorable matchup for the Bills defense. Interior wise though, and Landon Jackson is going to be playing in this game. So he's going to get the tap. We're going to see Landon Jackson come in. What do you think about this Bills defense, though, Dom? And the current state that it is? Because it seems like it fluctuates every week. We get a legendary performance, and then an injury comes in and just wipes it away. So what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would like them to be healthy. Like, would have liked to have seen one game with Ed Oliver and Michael Hoy and all those guys. But
can you imagine the defensive front with both of them healthy?
Yeah. I guess in our dreams we can.
Yeah, it's like imagining Josh Norris on the Sabres. Like, I mean, can you imagine what that would do to the team right now, if anything? But go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, listen, AJ's out with a concussion, which hopefully he's doing all right.
Yes, Epinesa is out. Forgot about that.
Bonessa, oh my God, I just combined both. So, missed practice early in the week, has a little wrist thing. He's going to play. This is going to be one of those games that's going to be interesting, right? I think Daquan's going to miss. I think that's why they have Madsen signed to the active roster, which is kind of bizarre, I thought, because he had one practice squad elevation left, so I didn't understand the whole rush to do him. I guess it was just a reward for his hard work. I just don't understand that one.
Maybe, no. I didn't really get it either, but what are you going to do? I'm not getting paid to make those decisions, so.
So you're going to have Walker, Phillips, Obajobi, and Mathis, which isn't great. The edge room, like, Bosa's probably going to be pretty limited, so after Greg Rousseau and Bosa, who's playing, it's probably going to be Javon Solomon and Landon Jackson. So it's a big opportunity for him as well. Linebacker wise, still down Shaq, but you still have your supposed two best ones in Milano and Bernard. Interesting to see who starts if Taron Johnson misses. Not interesting because it's going to be Cam Lewis, but interesting to see if he plays, I should say.
Yeah.
Which he missed the first day, limited the rest, who knows. Benford, I assume was going to be out. Like, I'm sorry, when you have a groin injury in practice, it seems like he was struggling maybe with that earlier in the year as well. I know he practiced, today after being out, but it seems to me like he's probably they're going to sit him and be cautious. So
yeah,
I think the two most interesting things for this defense this week, not even game related, is what does Landon Jackson do with this opportunity? Because he's probably going to play, right? Again,
yeah.
Who else is going to play? Especially when you try to limit both the snaps. And
well, McDermott also today mentioned him by name
Yeah.
in seeing young players have to step up and fill roster spots.
and
So
the last thing too is if Benford misses, how many snaps does Max Harrison get? Right? Are they going to continue? Because you would think
could be his first start.
But you would think though, Joe, that okay, Trey White, they're just going to play him all the other, and if they still are believing that he's not fully ready, like he's probably going to just split reps with Jamarcus Ingram, right? So we'll see. Like if that happens, okay. But if not, like we're probably going to get White and Harrison, which is going to be interesting to see. Because again, it's kind of still an opportunity for Trey White to show he's still this guy as well.
Yeah. I'm kind of rooting for White and Hairston to just, if Benford's out, to just be out there. I kind of want to see Hairston in game action.
Well, no, I want Harrison to play, but if all the snaps, but if for some reason they're still like, we don't want to do it all, he's probably going to split up Jamarcus Ingram instead of Davis White.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm saying personally, I would like to see Hairston play the snaps.
Yeah, I've been interested to see who they call up this week. I mean, it's pretty clear that one of the call-ups is probably going to be Dane, because it's going to be like, even if they play Terran, if Benford misses, they need an outside corner.
Yeah.
If Terran misses, they're still need an outside corner because they usually like Jamarcus Ingram to kick inside to be the backup nickel. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm talking about specifically not just the Bills' injuries, but the game itself. Waddle is a mismatch. It's a tough matchup, but I think they can do better against. They've done pretty well against him in the past. Him against Trey White is a problem that I am concerned about.
Yeah, however, that could be a liability.
But however, you don't have Tyreek Hill from the last game's matchup. So I think that's big. I think that tilts the field a little bit. I think that may make them Bills play a little bit more aggressive. We'll see. Again, I don't think this is a great Miami defensive line, so I think they could get after it. And I'm interested to see, can Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano have, because usually it's tough games for linebackers against Miami with all the motions and all that. I'm interested to see how they play. So that'd be nice. And also, again, HN out of the backfield is a problem. We saw Kyle Hamilton guard him a couple times last week. So interested to see, does Cole Bishop get some one-on-one opportunities if HN out of the backfield? Does Milano? Does Bernard?
And speaking of Bishop,
be an interesting game.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Speaking of Bishop, that's a guy who's come into his own recently. So it would be great to see him have another game, and whether he's matched up against HN there, like you mentioned, or what's going on. I do think, yes, Waddle is a mismatch, like you said. But I do think even in the Bills' defense's current state, missing some big players, it's not an unfavorable matchup by any means. Like I think they'll still be able to handle Miami's offense. I completely disagree. You think? I think Bosa and Rousseau are going to be able to make Tua uncomfortable, and he's going to make mistakes.
I think Tua's going to get the ball out of his hand pretty fast. I'm going to be honest. Like I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, on to now X factors. We'll get to more of that later when we do our predictions and everything like that. But X factors for the Bills, I got to say, it's got to be, I think, Dalton Kincaid in the passing attack. That's immediately where my mind goes. Especially with James Cook having the ankle injury, like we mentioned, maybe throwing a little bit more, utilizing the verticality, throwing a little more than you did the last time against them. I think Kincaid will be a big part of that. What about you?
I think it's Ray Davis. So I think if Ray Davis...
Sweet Baby Ray has a big game.
Sweet Baby Ray plays well, less snaps on, less wear and tear on James Cook, the better. And if he plays well and James Cook can pretty much ride the bench the entire game, I think that's a fantastic outcome for the Bills. So Ray Davis is the X factor.
All right. I like that. No, and you're absolutely right. Honestly, Ray Davis is kind of due, in my opinion. Like, last season,
he's been terrible. He himself
he's been bad. Okay, he's been bad. I'm not saying he has been good or whatever. I'm saying last season though, in their rotation, like he was more than serviceable. So it would be nice to see if James Cook does go down. Can we get back to that? Can we do that?
Nice to see a Jets Monday night game performance from CB Ray.
What'd you say? I didn't. They actually.
I said nice to see a Jets performance from him. Yeah, like last year Monday Night Football, 97 yards rushing, had the big catch.
That big catch where he almost dropped it. Yeah, that was insane. But all right, now to the MVPs. After this quick timeout, we'll be right back with more of the Buffalonian Podcast. Welcome back to the Buffalonian Podcast. You got our X factors, you got our defensive predictions. It's time for the MVP. Who's going to be standing on top of the mountain at the end of the game? I got to say, I think it's going to be. I think your biggest player is going to be on defense. Okay, you're not going offense. I think this guy's going to make some plays. You ready for this? Cole Bishop. I think he has another outstanding performance. I think he picks Tua off twice. I genuinely think he does. I think he has 2 interceptions on the day. Tua makes some mistakes. It's not a new coach juice. It's just new GM juice. So I do have confidence in that. They're not going to get the interim head coach juice. But what do you think, Dom? Who's your MVP?
I'll go Terrell Bernard. Kind of
bounce
nowhere.
back.
I think he gets a defensive touchdown in the game. I don't know. He had the big interception last time against Miami. He's really sucked. He's just straight up sucked most of the year. There's not even a better word. He is actually just sucked. He's been terrible. Hopefully, I'm hopeful for not even just a bounce back. I'm just hopeful for an elite game. I'm hopeful for 2023 Terrell Bernard to show up.
Yeah, I think everyone would hope for that. I mean, let's just be honest. Like it's got to happen at some point.
That is easily that has been the worst contract they gave it.
100%. 100%.
Like if you look at it from my perspective, it's this. I think James Cook has completely outplayed his contract. That is a steal, right? That's a bargain.
Yeah, this season he already has done it.
I think Shakir. And I think you could also put Rousseau now because he's kind of come on. I mean, has made so many great plays in the run. He's kind of a dirty work player. Again, he's never going to have the elite sack number, but again, I just think $20 million for an edge of his caliber is good value. Is fine. I don't know if he's going to completely outperform that, but I think both Rousseau and Shakir have shown that they're worth the contracts. I think Benford's like in the disappointing / are you healthy tier. Is he healthy? Cornerback play can be kind of volatile. Pretty like goalie, a little voodoo magic sometimes. Yeah, I still think he's good. And it's not like they gave him they gave him a good deal. Well, they didn't give him like 25 mil. I think it was like 4 years, 69, which I can't do math, but it's like $17.5 million, which he hasn't played close to that value at the moment, but I still think that could rebound. I think the Bernard deal has complete potential to just be awful.
Yeah, it does.
Complete potential to be awful.
If he continues to play the way he is, it's the
we haven't even got to the contract yet. Yeah, and they give him a $50 million contract. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, like for the 5, I think you could be like, all right, we're either getting great value, we're getting the value, or we just believe this player is a little banged up, a little bad luck. I think those are fine. That Bernard one is just so bad, so bad.
It is.
If they had to say which one contract could you erase out of those 5, it is easily him. He's easily 5.
Oh, 100%. He's out of there. He's out of there. If you could get rid of one, that's the one. But all right, I like that. I hope he has a bounce back game. He's got to be able to do it. Now, the culmination, the end of the game. Who wins? By what score? Dom, you kept your tradition alive by picking against the Bills, picking the Kansas City Chiefs. And guess what happened? The Bills won. So we need to continue that. That just, I think, because next year they play the Chiefs no matter what. So that's got to happen again next year, right? So you just got to keep that up. I do think the Bills win this game. I don't think they let Miami get the best of them. Offensively, I think they're going to be able to just pick apart this defense. They're 9.5 point favorites right now. Before, I was like napping a little bit before we started recording this, and I all of a sudden was like, all right, 15.5 point alt spread for the Bills. I'm not going to go as far as that, but I do think they cover the 9.5 point favorites. I think they win by 2 scores. Bills. I got to say, thinking of the specific score, probably would have to be something along the lines of, I don't think it's going to be super high scoring, like 28-14, 28-17, something like that.
Alrighty. Yeah, I think, I don't know, I think firing the GM does give them a little juice. I think they have the rest advantage. Playing Thursday night last week, I think Bill's a little banged up on defense. Miami seems to always kind of have solid games against the Bills defense, even with all that. So, I don't know. I think that, and also it's at home. It's in Miami. I know it's not going to be super hot because it's November, but I think just Miami is not great. But I think also it being a division rival at home, I think Miami's actually going to cover the 9.5 points. I think the Bills are going to win 30-24. I think it's going to be a little, again, kind of similar to the earlier game. I think it's going to be a little closer than people expect. I just think there's a lot of variables in Miami's favor. But again, I just think the Bills are too good of a football team. And yes, I did pick the game right, but there's a guy in the room with me who did pick the game correctly, and he is back.
Oh, is he back for a celeb pick from Peachin again? Look at this. He's coming in. Patrick, can you hear me?
Now, what did I say last time? I said,
why would you pick against the Bills? How could you do that?
Why would you pick against the Bills? It's lunacy, really.
It is lunacy. Who are you picking? I have the Dolphins or the Dolphins losing, excuse me. Dom has the Bills winning as well. I have them by over 9.5 points. I had them at 11 points, 28-17. What are you at? What do you think?
Well, if I wasn't going to pick the Chiefs, there's no way I'm picking Tua turn the ball over.
Okay.
Much respect to Mike McDaniel's patience with him, or the blackmail he definitely has, because why is Tua still the quarterback? Well, of course I'm picking the Bills. This is easy. This is trivial.
What's the score? Do you think it's over or under 10 points they win by?
Oh, under. Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to have a problem with my blood pressure after this, but it's going to be under 10 points.
Okay.
I might even say it's going to be a field goal.
No, God,
I never want to say it's
You're
going to be a
speaking
blowout.
it into existence now. What's the number on the board, though? How much do they score? If you think it's a field goal, it's a 3-point differential. You think it's a high-scoring 3 points or a low-scoring 3 points?
High scoring. I got faith in Tua. No, I don't. That's a lie. I got faith in I got faith in none of them. I think Miami, the defense may prove fun and actually a good game to watch. Blowouts. Nobody wants to sit and watch a blowout. Everyone wants to have a good time and watch a game that's actually good, but not too good. We don't want to have a Cowboy situation where now they have a tie. Nobody
we're
wants
due
a tie.
for a blowout, though. We're due for a blowout.
I think the score is going to be like. Sorry, math is tough. Give me a second. I'm going to say 28. 28-35. I'm going to disregard my statement about.
So they win by 7. They win by a touchdown. You have them winning by a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be a high scoring game. I think I genuinely believe that there will be some good moments. I ask if we don't lose to the Dolphins and we can keep our on track, on pace to deal with the Patriots.
Yep. Buccaneers have to beat the Patriots also this weekend. That could be a huge get because then you play the Bucs next week if you're the Bills, and it could definitely go a game. You could take over again.
Yeah,
so you got to beat the Dolphins, then you got to beat the Bucs, and hope the Bucs beat the Patriots. So
I hope the Buccaneers
it's a big weekend.
I hope the Buccaneers have the best game of their life after the Patriots, and then have the worst game of their life against the Bills. So I wish luck for Baker this week, and then next week.
All right.
I don't want him to get injured. That'd be awful. I want him to get
Would you not root for
IBS
injury? Would you not root for injury or sickness?
No, not severe injury, like pooping. Oh my God,
like Lamar Jackson when he ran off the field.
Lamar was MVP, and the P does not stand for player. I'll tell you that much.
No, you're absolutely right. Well, I like it. I like the 7-point victory. Celebrity pick from Peachin. Once again, is this going to be a weekly thing now? Are you going to do this every week when we're doing this?
One more time?
Are you going to do this every week when we're doing this now? Is this like a weekly? We can't call it a celeb pick anymore if you're going to be doing it every week. It's just a regular guest appearance at that point.
Man, I live here. This is why I'm on this.
Okay. All right. Oh, my God.
Well, I will give you back to Dominic because Dom knows more about stats than I do. But
sounds good. Well, we're wrapping up anyway. Thanks for the pick. We'll talk to you soon. Next episode of Betting on the Bills, we'll hear from him once again. It's always fun to get that perspective from him. But yeah, go Bucks, take down the Patriots, go Bills, take down the Dolphins, and then we got to take care of the Bucks next week. Dom, anything else you want to say here before we wrap things up? You got anything?
Nope.
Or are you content with this matchup? I don't know if I am, but we'll see. That's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. It's Betting on the Bills for Week 10. We'll be back at the beginning of next week to recap this victory. Yes, I said it. Calling the shot well before. We're going to recap the victory for the Bills over the Dolphins early next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. You'll hear it from us. But Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.